What's up, everyone? It's me, Adam Prime, and I'm back with another TokuBrew podcast. It's been quite a while.
Yeah.
This is 4 or 5
Yeah.
in our weekly show.
Our spin-off has already overtaken us.
Yeah, the spin-off show could be thought as the main show, which you might be right, because we don't use this format that often. We want to use it more, especially with your favorite season coming up.
Oh, yeah. It's spooky season.
So,
oh, I feel it coming. I'm very excited. Maybe I should choose my words a little better.
But with me, as always, is my lovely co-host fiance to this show.
I'm Stormy.
And this is... I'm aiming this to come out on September 5th, my birthday, because that is the 1-year anniversary of Revice. Kamen Rider Revice is over. You know, it's funny, in the first episode of this podcast was so 3 episodes ago, if you go back 3 episodes ago,
that was a year.
Yeah, almost a year ago, because it was a post-it, because there's no way that I released that the same day we watched it, no way, so that it was the first episode of the TokuBrew podcast was talking about Revice, and I went back and listened to those, and it was so funny, we knew none of the characters' names.
Yeah, well, it was the first episode.
I know, it's fucking funny, though, where it's like, it's like one of those things where it's like, you always have that thought, you're like, future me, what would they be thinking about what I'm saying right now? I could have that, we can have that, it's funny.
All the time, and the fact that I can actually, just go back and be like, I am harshly judging you.
But yeah, no, we are...
Also, I love the fact that in the first episode, I was like, maybe we'll come back every 10 episodes, and then you didn't hear from us again for a year.
About Revice. So yeah, that was the funny thing...
We're looking forward to that.
Hey, but we will be getting to Geets. So go to This Week in Toku for Geets when he comes on.
Yep, and then we will have the Holy Trinity, finally.
Yep. Revice is ended at 50 episodes, which is a common ending era, sometimes 48, anywhere between 47 and
52.
50, yeah, 52, 54, something like that.
That's more on the long.
Those are usually the really long ones.
What, Wizard went on that long?
I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think, it goes Wizard, and I think Build got close. I think.
Yeah, Build was one of the longer ones too.
But yeah, no. So it's so funny that we started this show with Revice, and now here we are at its end. And like you said, we were like, oh, we'll come back every 10 episodes.
I still think that is technically a better idea than just doing 2.
I don't know, but that also gives you room.
It's kind of interesting, now it'll be one at the very beginning, one at the very end. That's kind of interesting,
But yeah, so you could definitely see our deeper, our first impressions to now. But the only thing is, we also were meaning to do this episode a while ago. We were like, oh, we'll wait until the Veil special ends.
And then it's
Sales
we'll do another, and then we'll do the very last thing to just wrap up our final thoughts and see how it ended, and then that didn't happen.
We're like, oh wait, look at the Veil storyline is kind of ending. We could do it there.
For whatever reason, it just kind of kept getting put off.
Well, it's because we're like, oh, we want to make sure we remember this, we remember that, and
then we get intimidated.
Yeah, and it's.
But we are here now, and that is what it's important.
Yes, and this is not going to be an extreme retrospective. This is not going in detail, beat by beat by beat. But this is we're gonna gush about this show.
Okay, all right. Do you want to just do a couple general statements about the show as a whole before we get?
We will be getting into spoilers.
Yo, yes, heavy spoiler warning.
So if you've not watched at least the final episode, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
If you have watched the show up to this point, what are you doing? Go watch the final episode. Geets is airing.
Listen, man, just. Mano y mano, person to person, take my advice of just watch this first. Watch the show first. It is so good. This is a show that you need to watch it
with very sketchy you know what I mean? It started off we mentioned this in the first episode.
No, legitimately go watch this show
Yeah,
first. It is,
well, like,
it's one of the really good ones.
like,
It is
in our opinions,
it's one of the top tier.
It's one I really liked, especially since I really didn't like Saber last year.
I feel like we could do a whole episode on just that, but that'd be very negative.
Like I said, so it was like the birthday gift that kept on giving.
Yep.
And so yeah, this is not gonna be like, we're gonna talk about a lot of it, like the movies and everything else, but it's
The
like
spin-offs
like, you know what I mean, where it's like those are clear like points we can talk about, but if we had to go through all 50 episodes, that'd be a little bit ridiculous, and that means we're gonna be like, well, if we want to talk about them, maybe we should watch them so we remember them, which that would just take too much fucking time.
I am glad that we'll be getting into a better habit with Geats.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very happy with
I think it's a lot more of an interesting thing because it shows like how you're feeling each on, so you can't just be like, oh, like, because it leaves a lot less room for things to fall into the cracks.
Because that's one of the things that makes me so sad about doing this at the very end is like, we're probably gonna forget so much, and it deserves, you know. It's like,
but that means
so
that's why you should watch it. Like, that's why you should watch it. Like,
but yeah,
go.
definitely. Again, just such a heavy spoiler warning. You don't want this.
You know what? We could have used that as the excuse of been like, yeah, we're not going to go in depth because you should watch it. Not that we have to. We can't remember some objects, obviously.
Definitely.
We just gotta leave stuff for you, but we
Definitely.
can't. We can't do that. But yeah, no. As you can see on this channel, I love the toy line. And
really?
Before we get started,
possibly guess that.
I have a Vice Stamp shirt. I love this gimmick.
I just bought like a 2 foot long, tall. Was it tall or long? I don't remember.
I think it's 2 feet long.
I just bought a 2 foot long Love Cove. I fucking love the show.
Like, I like this show a lot, but we are going to open up with more toy centric things. I may do an actual full-on video doing some of these things, so if you see these videos, I guess it will be more expanded upon on these thoughts. But I want to rank the belts right now.
Really?
I'm only going to be doing the ones that are the main releases before the show ended. Sadly, because like the Disc Stream driver is not out yet, and I also missed the pre-order, so I don't even own it.
And we don't have the oh my gosh, the red one.
That's Veil. That's Death Stream. Death Stream and Veil are the same.
We also don't have the Dad's driver.
That's the one I'm talking about. The weekend driver, is that the red one you're talking about, the Aguilera one?
No, I would like the one that's Demons but red.
Yeah, that's Veil's.
Okay,
that's Veil and Death Stream. Okay. But like the weekend driver isn't out yet, so I can't. I don't have any opinions, but I feel like I know how I'm gonna feel about that. I think it's gonna be good, but I don't know if it's.
I mean, it pretty much just looks like it's gonna be repaint of the Libra driver, right?
Which is the weakest one in my opinion.
I can pretty much agree, just straight up on that.
I don't know about the Chimera driver though. That one could be the most interesting of the group, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
We don't know because we don't have.
Yeah, we don't own it. I have a pre-order.
We actually did, in case you're wondering, we actually did do videos on all of these belts. So.
Anytime I get a belt, go check it out.
Me. Before you saw my face.
Oh yeah, the Libra driver. Yes, you were in that video.
You and being cheesy and having a heart transition. That was so cute.
You're welcome. But yeah, the Libra driver I would say is the weakest. I don't mind the two-side driver, but it's a very similar situation. The only cool factor is it's a gun. Mm-hmm. And then functionality
to be fair, at least it like flips into like a
gun
too.
Yeah,
like it has a little bit of like playability.
Yeah,
there.
like
with the Libra driver, yeah, it like flips to the side and the thing falls down, but it's like, and it's a fine driver. I just think the price is really kind of what gets.
Why I don't know why it's premium. Like the weekend driver, 100%. Like the Libra driver should have been in the main toy line.
Yeah, I think that really kind of puts it back. It's like,
especially since the two-side driver and the Revice driver are the only two drivers in the main toy line.
Again, I bought a 2-foot snake of the one that comes out of this driver, and even I am saying that.
It's not the greatest. It's not terrible. Like, I like it. I actually like it a lot more than I thought I would. It's just...
And not as impressive compared to the others.
Like, I have to say, like, 100%, maybe there's a bias, but the Demon's driver, in my opinion, is my favorite of the 4 that I own. Because it just has that look, the style, the playability. I love the lights, the voice, and everything. But the Revice driver is also really cool, too, because you get that Etch-a-Sketch, you get all the jingles, like, that's what all the stamps are really made for.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like, why I can't say which one. Like, 100% the Revice driver is better than the Demon's Driver when it comes to getting the versatility out of the stamps. But like the Demon's Driver has that cool factor of what it does and how it looks.
Yeah,
so
I can pretty much agree on there. Just like I really like the Revice driver. I love that it's pretty much has like that oh my gosh, what are they called? Like the little magnetic drawing.
Etch a Sketch.
Is it Etch a Sketch?
No, Magma Doodle.
Magma Doodle, yeah. It's the little Magma Doodle things. Like, it's so cute. It's so charming. I love the colors. I love how it flips. I love the sounds. I love how it lights up. I do. But the Demon's Driver is just so sleek and so cool. And the way that you just, like, feel so powerful, like, crunching it. Like when
it's that motion. It's the playability.
Those LEDs are just so
and
good.
It still does give you animal names. Like,
yeah. Like, it's like, they're both really good, but I have to agree that I like the Demons one probably a bit more,
yeah.
too. Also, I also just like, the colors and the tubes.
Okay, here's the other thing. Yeah, that's kind of really why I want the Veil Driver. But I don't know, the Chimera Driver looks interesting.
The Red Driver does look pretty sleek, though. Shiny.
The Veil Driver.
I mean, there's also Aguilera's, which is basically kind of just like the Libra Driver.
But red with honey.
I think it is kind of cute and charming.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, but, overall, I thought it would be fun on the show to do. I will later do probably a top 10. So this is I'm cutting it in half. We get 5 and 5. And I'm sorry, I am not going to take the time to get pictures of all of these stamps because I'm a little lazy.
And also, you have a bunch of videos of.
Yeah, I'm about to say you can watch them. You can just go see me talk about them. So I made only one stipulation when I was picking these 10, where it's like I said no upgrade stamps.
Which is fair, because those are probably some of the coolest ones.
Yeah, like obviously it's like, well, what? It's like, do I really want to put like Mammoth over
like
the rolling? Yeah, like
or even like, what was the one where it like
the egg?
Spun?
Oh yeah, Thundergale.
Like, would you really pick Mammoth over like Thundergale? I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Or honorable mention to the Gifford Rex stamp, which has that sweet DNA design.
It is just that is like my favorite. Like, I know like the stipulation was
in the head. Yeah, no.
Oh my god, it is just the perfect stamp in my opinion. It's everything that I love about them. Just
so yeah.
Into one.
So do we want to get into our honorable mentions?
I also imagine the rolling Vice stamp is
kind of
discounted.
Well, yeah, that.
As well.
Yeah.
That's also a really fun one.
Yeah. Which we are getting the crimson one.
Do you want to go first?
I'll let you go first because
so what are we doing?
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
You want to go through just your 3 honorable mentions?
Okay.
And reasons why.
So I feel like this is both gonna be like the most expected and also least expected one. This is an honorable mention for me. Cobra. Janine's.
It's a great. I like it. I like the snake.
Shocker, but why is it an honorable mention and not one of my favorites?
Is it the mac and cheese?
But while it's my favorite character, obviously, probably one of my favorite demons. Like,
yeah,
I like it, but it's just like when it comes down to like the visual. I also do like the stamp design, but like when it comes down to like the actual like visuals of these stamps, which was pretty much what I was basing them off of, just visually, like what do I like the most? This one, it's just like it's okay. Like, it's definitely not my favorite visually. One of the reasons it's an honorable mention, though, is because, I don't know if it's our specific one, or if a lot of them look like this, but it is basically, every time I look at it, I see the orange, and my brain just thinks that is, like, mac and cheese. That is the perfect
They
mac and
all
cheese
look like
color.
that. They do.
Okay. It's just, I always think it's just so funny, because my brain just doesn't think stamp. My brain thinks mac and cheese when I look at it.
Well, like, that's why it's,
I just think that it was just so funny, I had to mention it.
So yeah. Oh, this one.
So this one, funny enough, like, it's gonna come out of nowhere, but this is one of my favorites because I'm actually gonna say what it is first so that I can present the reason why better. Oh, big yawn. So, this is Jackal, and the whole reason I have it here is because I don't hear Jackal when I hear it. I don't know if it's the accent or if it's like the filter that they put on the voice. Whenever it is pressed, I hear chicken. It just makes me laugh every time.
I don't know why.
You don't hear it?
I don't.
Maybe it's a freaking, what's it called? Like,
like a
Yanny
frequency.
like a Yanny Laurel kind of situation. But I just hear chicken whenever. Maybe you guys can hear it. Just chicken.
What do you hear? Put it down in the comments.
My third honorable mention is
I didn't bring this many honorable mentions.
Bat. This was pretty interchangeable with like one of my other top fives, just because I like the sleekness of it. It's such a nice, like, it's just like that nice, like, almost minty green blue that you would expect to be on like a piece of gum or like
Yeah.
food, I
Like
guess. Almost like a
toothpaste.
Taki color, the blue Taki color, but a little bit more green or teal.
Yeah.
And
The
like,
white bat.
the white pearlescent bat is just so pretty, and also just like how like symmetrical the actual bat itself is. It's just a lovely looking stamp, but I picked my other one over this just because there isn't as much color variation. I just have it as an honorable mention because I went back and forth so much. I feel like a crime if I didn't mention it.
Yeah. I'm gonna give my honorable mention, which is the Mammoth Deno stamp, which I like, and it's like mostly because the coloring. I honestly think the references to the actual Deno actually work. As much as we're just like, okay, why the fuck is Kiva Porcupine? Why the fuck is Drive Octopus? Like Mammoth is one of those where if you squint, it kind of works. Because I forgot.
I didn't know we were doing the writer part. Jackal was X8 if you're curious.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Well, no, like it's part of my reasoning why I'm mentioning it though, because it's like I like Deno. Like I said, it works for the movie because the whole thing was like, oh, people thought they're like, oh, they saw an elephant that day, and it turned out to be the Denliner. So I'm like, I get it's like the mammoth, I guess if you squint.
Yeah.
But overall, it's just
real good.
But when I had to pick others, it just couldn't win out. So yeah. So do you want to do your first of your five?
Is that your only honorable mention?
I'm gonna do another full video later, so
That's
why does
fair.
it matter?
That's
What's
fair.
it matter like when I know I'm gonna do more myself?
Alright, so
I'm like Thanosing with my Vice Stamp Infinity Gauntlet, and just I'm like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Jesus.
Wait, is that the Juga driver?
But so I'd say like this was the one that was interchangeable with the bat. This is my number 5, I guess. Scorpion.
Scorpion.
I just love the look of this one. It has that beautiful cherry red that just looks like a freaking Jolly Rancher. So good. And
You don't have an attachment to Kamen Rider X?
Not really. I've never seen it.
He was in that crappy movie we watched.
But like, it has the black and white marbling and the silk and like. And
I know you almost probably picked Grasshopper too because of the marbling.
Oh yeah.
The
like,
elegance of the look.
Oh yeah, like that has like such a like that pretty blue teal color and like a silver scorpion or
Grasshopper.
grasshopper on it. But this one again, it has like that nice cherry red, the black marbling on the white. So I guess it just kind of looks like normal marbling, and it has like this really pretty sparkly silver for the scorpion. It just looks so pretty and weirdly delicious.
So yeah, so that's your number 5.
You're right. Do you want to do your number 5, or you want me to keep going?
No, I'll do my number 5. We're gonna go back and forth.
Okay.
You know what? This one I'm picking just because I love the sounds and I love the look of it. It's Kong.
I'm
Like,
not surprised.
I like. It's one of my favorites. I love the standby music. Like I love the like it mentions like drumming. I love the sounds in it. I'm not like the biggest Forze guy, but honestly, like I just like the Kong stamp as it is. I love the little gorilla on front. Like
I love his little boobs.
yeah, his boobs where mine has a scratched titty from when like so it's like I remember I made the joke in the video. I was like, "Oh, he's like Kong from Godzilla vs. Kong."
Oh yeah.
Like
It is kind of on that same pack.
yeah, it's on the same titty. So yeah, like that's
I'm not surprised. You're very much you love gorillas.
I love gorilla. They just make me like I don't know why I want to say they make me laugh. Like I don't want to be teasing gorillas. I don't want a gorilla to come find me and rip my arms off. I like my arms.
Oh, like was it Ryuki?
Oh, that Ryuki meme that you got actually scared because it was like the gorilla that went and like broke that like glass.
It was the first time I had seen the memes. I didn't know what to expect, and also it was just so perfectly like edited in time to where I thought it friggin' broke through the glass. It was
Yeah, so it's this, and then it
child.
starts playing the Ryuki theme. Look at the. All right, what's your next one?
All right. So my number 4 is
Good.
Spider.
Good pick.
Ugh, such a pretty stamp. Great driver, great stamp, great character. You know, obviously.
Depending on who you're talking about, but yes.
Hiromi. We stand Hiromi in this house. I thought he died in the first episode.
Yeah, you did.
He didn't look very alive, laying on the floor. To be fair, I think that is where he's actually supposed to die, but...
I guess. If rumors are to be believed.
Yeah. But, again, just, I'm realizing I have quite a few picks with this black marbling. It just looks really nice. But it just looks so elegant with, like, the dark navy blue background and the striking red spider. It really just makes the spider look like it, just such a nice emphasis on it. It's, again, just like, it's just such a pretty stamp. I mean, what more can you say? Also, I'm a spooky gal. I love me a spider. As long as it's not real and crawling on me, in which I will scream like a baby. But
then you'll just be like,
But yeah,
oh yeah,
so
wait,
much,
but
so much good stuff associated with that.
yeah,
stamp.
like I said, along with all the other stuff that I said hasn't been released yet, there's a bunch of others, because I imagine maybe one of us would have picked the O's one, which is Buffalo for some fucking reason.
Yeah, I feel like
You know,
they really just gave up, didn't
like,
they?
oh my god.
They tried
Agito's
to-
Triceratops, which I'm fine with, because more dinosaurs. Whatever.
there's like, what,
Hibiki is Shoebill for some reason. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, you remember when
They could've made it
Shoebills
a
played...
crab.
Yeah, they could have... Fucking, Blade's a crab for some fucking reason.
Well, isn't there like a running joke in Japan of like...
That's Ryuki.
Oh, Ryuki.
That's for scissors. Which, Ryuki got one that made sense in Komodo Dragon. And I guess if you want to stretch it, Ghost with Rhino in a way. But, my next pick... The Toys R Us exclusive Toysaurus.
What a cool stamp that
Like-
just exists.
Yeah, it's straight just a blue and yellow repaint of Rex. But it's Toys R Us themed. I love, like, this is one of the things that, like, early on in collecting this line, I loved then, I still love now. It's one of my favorite stamps, both from just it saying, like, from how it says Toysaurus, it sounds like Toys R Us, which is amazing.
Also, I have, just so, like, for those that are maybe living in a different country that doesn't know this, here in America, we don't have Toys R Us anymore. I think maybe there's, like, one.
Yeah, we made it.
There's, like, either one store somewhere, or, like, a lot of it's online, but, like, we don't have, like, the classic Toys R Us stores anymore. So it's just kind of nice to have a piece of this
Yeah,
here.
you still have them. Canada.
I
Japan.
wanna grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. Doesn't matter. Time to grow up!
Grow the fuck up!
Fuck up!
And honestly, yeah, like, this was a great, like, I even love that, like, it has, like, it mentions, like, the DX stuff in it. It's honestly something, it's one of my favorite pieces. Like, so, like, it makes sense.
It's a nice collector piece in general.
It's like, honestly, if I do another list later, it might end up higher up. But for now, I think number 4 fits it. Or number 3? Number 4.
I think
Yeah.
it's number 4.
Yeah.
Alright. My number 3 is...
Julio!
Wolf. Julio. Fucking...
That's a shocking character. We'll get to that in a minute.
I have so much to say about that awkward boy. But, honestly, this is just a really pretty stamp. It was something that you almost
It is
picked
premium.
yourself.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, we almost had overlap, but I decided, I was like, you know what? Anyone that she picks, I'll just pick a different one just so we can talk about it a little bit more. I like this stamp a lot.
Besides, obviously, like, the Genome Rex, which we had in the honorable mentions, this is the most different looking... Gifford Rex, I'm sorry. This is the most different looking stamp that we have because it doesn't have the clear plastic in the middle.
It's a dead man stamp,
It's
yeah.
a dead man stamp. It's it has like a solid like sparkly purple. Well, it's sparkly, but like a nice like shiny purple,
Pearlescent.
and a pearlescent white wolf on it. It's just so elegant, so pretty. Like I could see someone like legitimately probably carving something like this out of marble. It's just so pretty.
Yeah. I think it's a really great stamp. I love that it has a different like stamp sound, like a transformation, because it's meant to be a dead man. Okay.
Should I do it?
Do it.
Okay.
You do a little dance. That's the rave.
Rave, you gotta party.
That's like the bass dropping.
You gotta rave like the kids
Like-
smoking the stogies.
Yeah. I think that's a really good stamp, and I'm surprised you didn't pick Gifu Jr. because like that's a fully unique stamp.
I totally understand that, but and nothing against it. It is a very interesting, very cool looking one, and also I do like the Ifu Juniors. Like again, I still stand by the fact that those look really cool and I love them.
Yep.
But it almost looks like dirty, almost.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't
the
look.
browns that they chose.
Yeah, it's the sets like thing.
It's nothing. Like, it's not actually dirty or anything. But this one just looked like so much more elegant. It had a little pop of color, even though it is very monochromatic.
I still think that's a really good set. Honestly, one of the like honestly, there's no bad Vice stamp set at least so far. The only Vice stamp I think I overall am like, it's kind of the weakest one is Volcano. Volcano is like I would say the weakest stamp
Out of all the power-ups?
out of any of them, honestly.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wait, is this the one with the egg? Is that
No, that's the one attaching to the egg that has the little flame on it.
Oh yeah, just on its own.
Yeah, like in general, where it's like.
Yeah, I feel like that's not meant to be on its own.
Yeah, it's like it definitely is an add-on to something else.
Yeah, and you can really just tell. Like if you were to just give a kid that for Christmas, they'd probably be pissed.
Speaking of another premium set, my next pick, my number 3 is. I love this one for like it both making sense because in V3 he had Turtle Bazooka, which I think this one looks really fucking great. Like very similar reason to why you pick like Spider or Wolf. I like the black marbling, the look. I love the pop of green. The green is looking excellent. Like
well, yeah, red and green.
Like, would you have picked this one?
I considered it. I don't know if I would have picked it or put it in my honorable mentions, but I'm glad it's here.
Yeah.
I do really like it. Like,
Also,
there's very few that I think look like ugly. Again, one the Gifu Jr. is probably the only one that I think looks quote unquote ugly, you know?
Yeah.
Just for like the
also love Cove becoming a bazooka.
That's like the best part. Like,
yeah, and like I think the sound honestly is also really good. The jingle is pretty good. But like that was honestly a pretty solid set. Actually, I think we'll get to that in a second. But you want to do your number 2?
All right. So I gotta say that my number 2 and my number 1 are probably very interchangeable. I love both of these so much because they look just so pretty. But again, like I feel like it's just the day that you catch me on, I'll probably put one on the other. But for now, this is 2. Condor. This is just me.
The movie preview stamp for Kamen Rider Beyond Generations.
Yeah, this is the one with the pink marbling, the black back. I believe it's Joker, right? Yeah.
Kamen Rider Joker.
And it has this really nice purple condor on it.
The sounds are pretty good too.
This is just very much my aesthetic, honestly.
Just
like the pinks, the purples, the blacks. Like it's so pretty and I love it so much. Again, catch me on a day and this would probably be my number 1 in certain circumstances. It's just very me and I just really like it.
Yeah.
I don't really have much more to add other than
you just like it. You like it. And here's a funny part. I didn't realize until I was thinking about it. I was about to mention it, but here's my number 2, and if you've watched this video, you probably understand. The whole first selection, like the Vice stamp selection set, made it into our list. Like all 3 of them. Huh? Like Turtle, Scorpion, and Mole we're in a set together.
Oh, that's
the
so
whole
cool.
The whole set, it made it into our little talk.
I guess that must be one of our top like bundles.
Yeah, that's honestly, I love that. I love Mogura, like much like Turtle. I love that it makes sense. Because Amazon has something with Mole. Amazon is my favorite show writer. I want to watch his show. I've seen very few episodes and clips. I adore the aesthetic. I like the look. I love the suit. I love the show Amazons.
Go watch that if you haven't.
So yeah, like this one, it just has ton. I love the sounds in it in general, because it actually gets like that Amazon kind of chant and yell into it. It is like, if there is another video, this could end up as number one. But I love that it has a little dirt mound and the magnet reflects that. It is by far, like, it is a high up stamp, like, for a reason.
He's a cute little boy.
I love him. You're number one?
Alright. So, I'm wondering if this would be surprising to anyone, but this is my number one.
I am surprised the batteries have not died on that damn thing.
It's Revice's Rex. It's the main writers. So, why did I pick this? Again, like, the fact that I love the characters and everything aside, like, this is just my favorite colors, basically. My favorite colors and the combination of them are, like, pinks, specifically, like, nice fuchsia colors, blue, specifically, like, usually, like, cyans or, like, nice deeper blues, I guess, and purple. It's just, these are, like, my three favorite colors, and I feel like they all three pop in different ways, and I really like it. Condor is also really nice because it kind of all goes together. It's a little bit more monochromatic, kind of, but, like, this one, the colors are very popping, very nice. One of the things that I judged my stamps were based on, like, if I were to be a character in the show and I were to be a writer, what stamp would I want to be associated with? And it really just kind of came down to these two. And it just kind of helps that this one, I know what the suit would look like, and it looks really cool.
Yeah. It's a good stamp.
It's
the first stamp, and it's obvious why it's like the main hero stamp.
I almost
I
feel
love
like
the
it's
stamp.
a cop-out for this to be like my number
Hey,
one or
if
two.
it can be the last stamp for the 50 ring on the episode, for the last episode, you can pick it for your favorite.
I like him. I don't know why. Those two, like.
Here's my shocking number one. Lion. Honestly, I did not expect to like this stamp as much as I did. I love Kuga. Kuga is one of my favorite.
It's a fantastic show.
Like, I love that show. I love it to pieces. I think this looks really well. I think it captures the animal itself. I have no idea how they got Kuga into that. But okay, a lion. Fuck it.
I don't know. I feel like out of all of, like, the writers that you could associate with, like, the brave and courageousness of
of a lion, yeah.
I could see that with Kuga.
Yeah, it fits. It fits in that way when you think about it, and I love the sounds. I think the stamp looks pretty great. It has an alternate version in the Amazing Mighty form, but with... And
I personally like this one a little bit more. Guess why? Pink marbling.
Yeah.
The black and white, the pearlescent.
It looks good. They both look so really good. But yeah, no, and it's one of those stamps, like, I don't know why I always see myself always picking it back up. Like, it's always that, like, that's why it's my number one. It's always the one.
You like to play with it.
Like, it's literally the one I'll just, like, hold in, like, my hands at most times. So it's like, it's like you said, like, the stamp I would like to be caught or be using is Lion.
Also, it looks like a delicious yellow candy. I also just like a lot of these clear plastics because they look like candy, if you haven't noticed.
But yeah, no, so yeah, that is our top 5 Vice stamps.
Woo.
Any shocks? And are you surprised by any of my picks?
A little bit. Like, wasn't expecting you to like I kind of expected you to like Lion pretty highly. I wasn't really expecting Mole.
I love Mole.
I'm not really surprised by Kong, but I am a little surprised that Mammoth wasn't a little higher, just because you seem to really like that one a lot. I'm a little surprised by Turtle, just because I just didn't expect you to like that one that much. But I guess it makes sense, just based off of, like, the colors that you like. What about me?
Honestly, like...
You were really surprised I didn't have,
I'm surprised you didn't... Yeah, you didn't use Cobra. Honestly, I'm surprised by Spider. Like that was one of the surprises. I'm not like the others. I'm not really that shocked. Like your top three, Scorpion. I was also surprised. Like because I remember, I was almost surprised you didn't go with Bata, but
I had thought about it a bit,
it's
but
the cherry red.
I think I like just like that nice cherry red
Yeah.
more. Then I like again. They're both pretty, but.
All right. So are you ready to get into the show?
Yeah.
We are a little ways into this show, and we are.
Sorry if you're already sick of hearing about Vice stamps, but.
If you're on my channel and you're sick about Vice stamps and you're getting mad about it, why are you here?
God, all he ever talks about is Vice stamps.
Honestly, recently I've been mostly talking about Don Brothers.
That's fair.
To be fair, the toy line ended, so.
Yeah.
Well, not
you know
ended. I guess the main toy line has ended.
You know what? Since we're on the topic of toys real quick, I do want to ask you, since you've obviously just been interacting with these so much more than I have. Like, just not taking into account, like, oh, you've done videos on these, oh, like, just, like, how much you like stamps in general, like, based off of, like, versus, like, any other gimmicks or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as a toy, like, or if, like, you were, like, put yourself into, like, the shoes of a child or something. Just, like, how do you think of these and, like, let's say just, like, I guess, like, the main belts or something. Like, what do you think of them just as toys?
That's the weird part where it's like, I would like to say Demon's Driver would do really great, but again, it would be really expensive. It was not a cheap
I think that's
belt.
more of an adult toy.
That is definitely a lot more of an adult toy. And I think kids would honestly really like the Revice driver because they can have that Etch-a-Sketch, and especially if they had the gun axe, the Orin Buster 50. Like, because I wish I would have bought it. I just, for whatever reason, I'm waiting for it to go on sale. I'm not gonna lie. The Orin Buster 50, so like they can even use it into their gun, and like you have the Vice gun to phone, and like he can scan it in the first 10, and then you get like that upgrade stamp and Baird Rex. I think kids could have a lot of fun with these toys, like a lot of them, like especially like the rolling stamp, and you know.
And I feel like it also helps that the gimmicks are also kind of weapons in a way, because obviously you can stamp people with
like this show gave it the concept.
Even if you were to only give a kid a stamp, like they could still play with it, you know, even if they didn't have a belt. It's like, yeah, like they can get like the music, they can get the lights, they can get the sounds, but they can also kind of be like, oh, now they go up, they grab a thing, they stamp their friend, oh, now you're a demon. Now you're a demon. Now you're a Geef Junior or whatever. Like I can see them doing that. Just like,
yeah,
you know, thinking about it that way. Just like, oh, or like even just like tag, you're it. You know.
Yeah. So like we said earlier, we are going into spoilers. So do we want?
I feel like we've already like said a couple of things that would have spoiled something.
Yeah.
But I guess final warning. I guess.
Yeah, this is our final warning. This is now we are going into story. Honestly, let's go through the characters because that's the best way I think we could get through it.
Okay.
Because
you want to do it in any particular order, or
should we just start off with the main boys?
I guess so.
Should we start with the boys?
Are we going like as writers or just characters?
Well, I'm saying like if we're gonna let's talk about Iki first, so we obviously have to talk about Vice.
Okay. And
it's so funny because at the first opening bit, we were so afraid of what Vice could be. Mm-hmm. Like, first of all, where the fuck did that Saber episode come from? We are 50 episodes in, and the 50th episode only validated it, like, by 0.1%.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And, like, that one special that I had forgotten about, funny enough, like, that you had showed me, like, that was out before that. So it's not like the characters weren't established in some way. I really feel like someone just kind of gave a bullet point list to, like, a Saber writer.
Yeah.
It was just like, here, put these characters in. Or something.
Yeah.
Though I do think it was funny when he just gave them flyers. That was still pretty funny.
Yeah.
But
I'm about to say, you want to just finish the talk about Vice? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change around on the character.
But I do want to say, just like I don't know if we'll be like ranking like any of like the other like little extra shows that have come out, because like Revice has had a lot of like miniseries and spin-offs and stuff. Like even if I were to like throw that in with like everything else, I feel like that's still probably one of like the worst things that has come out of Revice was that episode. Like, what the actual hell was going on?
They're like a week before their debut, making themselves look like complete assholes. And honestly, it's so funny because we wanted to not like Vice so hard.
We went in with such a bitter taste in our
Like,
mouth.
yeah, and Vice was a great character.
I love Vice
Like,
so deeply.
I'm so sad. Like we said, spoiler alert. Like, I'm just gonna keep saying spoilers because I want to avoid things.
We've already established this is where spoilers come in. No more spoiler
Yeah.
alerts because they've had their alerts. Okay.
Okay. Vice disappearing at the end fucking hurt.
I
And like the fact that it ended almost like on this happy note of like the
It's very bittersweet.
it's a very bittersweet thing, and like we saw him grow as a character, and I adore that fact, and we got to see it through Iki, because Iki almost felt like he's already gone through his arc and he's already sacrificed, and like that's kind of what we learn. It's like he's always willing to more sacrifice himself and his wants and his desires
Japan's busy
over, yeah, exactly, and being just like trying to be a good person, be a good son, be a good brother, and like he trades it all. And like when you find out how their contract started when they were a kid, when Vale was a dick,
Yeah.
we will get to him.
We'll get to you.
And like he makes that contract with Vice, and it's just like the only problem I think there was where it's like it almost took a little too long, because they set it up episode 1 that something was up.
But like it just took so long to figure out
Like,
exactly what it was.
and then like they give you that answer in that episode where you find out why he left soccer, because he no longer had that memory, and you find out each time, like you find out every time he transforms with Vice, he's losing something.
He's losing a memory. It's reverse.
It's reverse Zeronos. He's Zeronos, but reverse. And it got really heartbreaking at the end. Like that moment when he had to tell his parents, "Hey, we're not open. We have these hours. You have to leave."
Who are these people? I just
like that broke my heart.
We had to pause and just like take a minute. Like, God, that is specifically, I'd say, like, I mean, that fucking emotionally hit really hard, especially seeing his response to it. Like, he didn't, like, he's like, okay, well, these are my parents and they obviously love me, but I don't know them. And it's like, so he's kind of awkward around them. He's trying to be the
like,
person,
that's why he leaves, yeah.
Like, he's trying to be the person that he thinks they want him to be. And just, it's just so heartbreaking, just the slow decline. And then, you know, everything with, like, Vice basically having to say his, like, goodbyes to him and just make sure he's gonna be okay when he's gone.
Yeah.
Because he knows what he has to do, and he gets everyone in on board, because, in case you don't know, or didn't figure it out, or you're just like, fuck spoilers, I don't care. Like, just, the whole premise of, like, this, like, last, like, 2-3-ish episodes is he wants to end the contract with Iki. So it's like, because Iki now considers him family. Like, so
he has memories and family to cost his memories.
And I think specifically the contract is he will lose memories of people from his family. I think I mean, it's kind of iffy because obviously, like, okay, what about his, like, soccer friend then?
But, yeah, because he forgot that motherfucker.
Well, if it's a little bit of a plot hole, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But he's just like, the whole reason that the contract isn't ending is because Iki loves me too much. And since everything has been defeated, everything has like settled down, he has no reason to transform again. I'm going to make myself look like I'm going crazy so that he'll fight me and lose his memories of me. So I'll disappear and he'll
null
get
and void.
Everything will be null and void, like I never existed, and he'll get his memories back, just not of me. And just like the way the Vice treated it, just it hurt so much. Like, because on our end of things, like, we watched the episode last night and we were planning on recording it yesterday, but I just couldn't. I'm just like, I need to go to bed because I was just crying, like, the whole last episode.
Depressed.
Like the ending of,
Do you
like,
remember the O's? Do you remember the O's episode of the Blazing Toku Movie-thon?
It was that
very similar reasoning.
Very similar. Just oh man, especially just like, like, like the second to last episode, was heartbreaking. I was like, oh my god, I'm almost crying already.
Yeah.
And then it ended. This very much just goes straight into the next episode. It's just
Yeah.
like from the very beginning of the last episode, I was crying. And I was crying the whole fucking time. Especially because, especially once Iki realizes what's going on and he starts to, just sob so much. By the way,
That
kudos to this
shot.
fucking actor.
That shot. Like, there's a shot when he's transforming into his Gifford Rex form. And, you just see his arms swing, and as he shows the Vice stamp about to put it in, you see a tear just run down his face.
Dude, that staff must have thrown a fucking party for getting that shot, because, that is just an immaculate shot. And just, just the pain. And then, now that everyone kind of knows, that everyone knows what's going on.
It turned into a game.
It turned into a game for them. They're like, if I'm gonna, only have one more memory with you, I'm gonna make it the best I fucking can.
And I'm about to say, and it was heartbreaking. And honestly, like I said, the character growth.
They brought the fart back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's that 0.1001% that validates that Saber episode.
I was kind of okay with it though, just because it kind of fit the mood.
Yeah.
Well, funny enough, it doesn't sound like it would, but it was just such this heartbreaking, playful moment of just these. I almost want to say.
It was down to earth. It was very down to earth. It's not a grand finale. It's not this big. It's not like Geef showed up with 1,000 guys and was gonna murder everyone.
It's so human.
It was personal. It was personal.
Yeah.
It was something very personal.
And they're like, oh, if I'm gonna do it, I want to go through every single stamp for as
But
much
yeah,
as
they
I
went
can.
through all of the the main 10. No, they went through the main ones. They got to pretty much all the ones before the upgrade.
Yeah, they were doing all the things that just we haven't seen in a long time. And oh my god, and the fact that they visually have all of the memories playing behind them, and you slowly
see them disappear.
Oh my, it was just everything was just perfectly woven together to just kick you in the balls.
And it's so interesting because I remember early on, and I still think in episode 2 it's one of my favorite moments, episode 2 or 3, where Vice is not listening and he did something where it fucking ticked Iki off, and he just beat the shit out of him. He transformed and just was in the bathhouse just kicking the shit.
He didn't trust Vice.
Well, no,
he didn't trust him till he let him loose
I know.
on his own. So he in suit would just be pouting in the water in suit, and it's so.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's I love that we had that moment where it's Vice was almost like a child. He was I can't control you, I can't trust you, and then you slowly see them get that trust and that partnership and everything, gain each other's trust by both as they get through the upgrades and everything, and then you get to stuff like Jack Revice where they switch places and you find out the reason Vice was being kind of a dick was to protect Iki.
Mm-hmm. It felt so realistic, how someone would deal with the demon and the relationship growing. It just felt like such genuine love,
and
between these characters.
Yeah, and honestly, it's
just because here's the thing that with Revice, kind of what you were saying. I'm so used to with Kamen Rider, the last episode or two. Is that's the climax and then the resolution.
And or an epilogue, yeah.
An epilogue, a little tying of the strings, But, and it's that's when all of the shit happens, basically. That's the big bad evil guy is there, they have to defeat it. That's when any crazy big losses happen, and then the resolution is them getting over it, or them going on, or learning to live again, and then tying up any loose story ends or anything. But with this, the big climax happened 4 episodes before the end, something like that.
Even if you want to call Gifu's death a big climax.
Well, he's not dead. He's sealed away.
No, I think he's dead.
I don't know. Either way, but that was the climax, and it was kind of portrayed in a very
again.
real
I still
way.
don't understand where they get the eyes.
It was very portrayed in a real way. I don't either. But of just them afterwards, just as they're sweeping, just wide-eyed, this doesn't feel over. I thought that it was gonna do the typical thing of oh, and then he comes back with even stronger. You know what I mean? But no, it that they left that plot line behind, and then just focused on this because in
Yeah.
between those, we had what happened with George and Juga.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I feel like a lot of people probably would be either negative or have a lot of mixed feelings when it comes to George and Juga. But
Yeah, no, he's dead.
no, okay.
Yeah, he's dead.
We have the wiki open just to like kind of keep a little bit of a structure.
Even though the wiki can be wrong from time to time, but yeah, no, he's dead.
Okay. Well, he did lose his eyeballs either way.
Yeah, again, where did they get the eyes? I'm not sure.
But like,
I want to let's save the Juga stuff for
I
George.
feel like I'm all over the place, but like, God, it's just
It's
what a great show. What a great ending.
and it's like I'm not gonna say it's for everybody. Like
Yeah.
it's a show we personally like.
It's like, even though it was like a very mellow ending, kind of in a way,
It's a bittersweet,
it's
decent end.
bittersweet. Like you really feel the impact of how far these characters have really come.
Yeah.
Like you really feel it with all of these people that they've affected so positively in the background. Just like being like, just watch them one last time.
Yeah.
And then
And like they had all the people.
like, all of that support just coming to Iki. But this fucking actor, I hope, was slamming down Gatorades or something behind the scenes, because that bitch was crying so much. He was crying as much as I was.
I wonder if he was crying similar to how the Spider-Man actor was. Like, it's the end. It's like the final thing you know you're doing, and now you're just kind of crying and just being like you crying to be thankful about it. Like
Geet.
oh my god, Geet too. Oh, that was the most adorable.
Oh my god. Give him a hug.
But all right. Are you ready to move on to the next set of characters? Like, do you have anything left to really say about Iki?
I guess, like, I know we'll probably go more in depth with this, and also just kind of address a little bit of, like, Vice's voice actor.
Fuck
like,
him.
Because, like, it's so funny because, like, the chemistry between all these characters is spot fucking on. And again, we will get into that later, because that's, like, a whole ass section that we're going to talk about. But it's so funny, like, when you see these pictures of, like, them, like, hanging out and stuff, because he's not there.
Like,
like,
most of them, there's sometimes, he is there from time to time.
Like, the suit actor's sometimes there, but just not Vice's voice actor.
No, the voice actor did show up for certain things, and they did stuff for the music video and everything, but it's like, there's a good chunk of it. Yeah.
Outside of work.
Yeah.
Thing. Like,
Yeah.
they're hanging out, like, of their own accord.
I've
He's
never
just
seen
not
that.
fucking there, and it's kind of funny to me.
You know what's so funny is, the Naotos, like, a lot of the Don Brothers cast, you see them, like, hanging out all the time, like, especially the Naotos, like, the three villains.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're hanging out all the time, they're going to events all with each other and everything,
so nice.
so it's kind of cute.
Again, I love it. I love seeing that.
Yeah. So, are you ready to move on about...
I mean, I've been kind of talking a lot. What, do you have anything you want to say?
Well, like, honestly, like, I've said a lot of it. It's like, I'm obviously gonna miss other different beats and everything, but it's like, there's also that a moment early on, I think when they were getting the lion stamp of he's like, hey, don't try to make these sacrifices, like, that's my job to do. That's the Kamen Rider's job. And that was another great line. And another, like, he had several of those moments where it's like, again, even after he finds out his memories are getting taken away, and
Still does it.
yeah, and by the way, that moment when they all, like, he starts remembering it foggy, you know what I mean? And like, Vice is like, no, you don't have to remember. Hey, it's part of our deal. You don't have to remember.
There's a reason.
Yeah, and it's like, it was such a powerful moment and everything.
Oh, God, especially like when he like forgot his siblings for a minute.
No, like, I'm not talking about like when he forgot, when he remembered Vale.
Oh my God,
like,
yeah.
that
He's
is
just
what
like,
I'm talking.
Iki, no, please, I'm blocking this trauma. Please don't remember.
Like, and like, that was another great moment, and like, I honestly really did like Iki. I think he was a really solid, good writer, and like I said, he had that old, like, using evil, turning it to good. Even after they found out they were, like, family with Geef, like, he didn't be like, well, we have to try to save him because he's family. He's like, fuck the demon guy, he has to die.
And one thing I have to really appreciate about with Iki, like, I think you mentioned, like,
He got told he was wrong all the time too. He wasn't always told he was right. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like I was about to talk about it.
Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like I was trying to talk about it.
Say it.
But anyway, like, what I really appreciate with, like, how they wrote it was because, like, he does kind of have, like, that, what usually Kamen Riders end with was what he was beginning with, of like having that drive to protect people and like above all else, and just like
make sure people are happy.
Making sure people are happy, unconditionally loving, just like that hard-working busybody, and which is cute because we learned he got that from his mom.
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh my gosh. But
or an hour, who knows?
I like that even though he's technically this quote-unquote like perfect example almost, he still needed to learn. Like, sometimes it took a while for him to fully understand a message. Like, you need to learn to trust your freaking siblings. You need to learn to trust your Vice. You need to have faith that they will succeed without you. You need to know that they will. You just need to trust them. And it's not even like, oh, I don't trust you, but more in the way of like
of a mother hen, where it's like, I don't want you to get hurt, so let me do it.
Or even just like, hey, I want to fight. No, it's too dangerous. It's like he needed to learn.
Yeah, and it's really nice. And I guess let's get right into the next of the Igarashi siblings and the Igarashi family, Daiji and Kagero.
The middle child.
He is the middle child.
He got middle childed so hard. And also, we stand Kagero in this house.
I liked Kagero. I wish we
Kagero.
would have saw him more. I feel like we didn't see Kagero enough. Like that's.
Oh yeah.
But like, and this is my complaint with a lot of these shows. There's so many of these characters I'm gonna be like, oh man, I wish we saw them more. They had a lot of really good characters. Mm-hmm. Some of them had to fall by the wayside, and sadly, Kagero was one of them.
And to be fair, there is, like, kind of a canonical reason why, but...
Well, yeah, like, there's a reason why. And I think Daiji... It's like, I like the story they had between him and Kagero, and, like, him setting up and, like, him becoming Kamen Rider Live and everything.
The relationships between the demons and their hosts are fascinating.
Oh yeah, I was also talking about like his interactions with Iki.
Yeah.
And everything. Like, again, the family dynamic on this is so fucking on point, and that's the most important thing they had to get right, and they did. Mm-hmm. And
I feel like we're probably gonna have to talk about that after we're done talking just about those characters.
I think we just will do the whole family in a row.
Let's do the family first, and then we'll talk about the dynamic before we move on. Because like we obviously have a lot to say about it.
And like Daiji, I feel like was one of the ones I often had problems with, and it's like I get it, but like he got a really weird arc in the middle about getting like, but like they gave a good reason to it, and they gave a lot for it.
He again, like I just really appreciate that.
He got
like,
middle child
had something that they needed to learn. And I think it's kind of funny. I'm realizing there's kind of a trope with all of the demons of the Igarashi family of they present
forgiving your father.
No, they present themselves and usually like kind of have like either a hint or a debut of being scary, and it turns out they're just soft boys.
And like I think
like Vice was supposed to be all creepy, and then it's just like hello.
He's like a child.
He's like a baby. And then there's Kagero, where it's like you think like he's this dark evil,
like gonna kill you,
and then it's just like, oh, that's just kind of your edgy older brother. And then
who designed costumes.
And then of course there's Love Cove, where it's like this mysterious like smoke thing that's hovering around her as she's like crying and debating, and it's just like love you. It's
like, fucking a Muppet.
And I guess kind of with Vale, but like
we'll get to Vale.
He actually was evil, and it's like kind of at the very end where it's like, oh, maybe he's more like Vice than I thought.
We'll get to them.
Sorry, there's a fly.
But like the thing about Daiji, I think, is also like he obviously was working for Phoenix and everything. I think it's cool. Again, they played that aspect of he was meant to be Revice to begin with.
And chickened out.
And well, he went like it almost like was that one kid from Gridman where it's like. Oh no, and drops the driver.
She rejected me. It's just like you didn't say like 2 words to her.
And like it's one of those things where it's like he kind of didn't get a lot as a like often, like he did get a number of things cool about him, and especially when they brought in Holy Live, and it was like, okay, it's either you or Kagero, and they kept building up that Kagero's getting stronger, and then he beats the ever-living fuck out of Kagero. They're like, oh my god, he's like, oh my god, you were lying. Yeah, like, he's like, oh my god, you were lying. You weren't getting stronger, you were getting weaker.
And again, I love like how they treat some of these things, because Kagero, basically the whole reason he exists is to just teach Daiji, you need to like
be a man.
You grow a pair, and you
grow a pair, bitch.
You need to stand up for what you
believe,
what you think you should stand up for, and you should do it right. But also, like, don't
half-ass it.
Don't half-ass it, and don't suck your own dick over it. You don't be so, like, he turned into fucking Zamasu, basically, at one point. Just be like, I am justice and holy, and all are beneath me. And like, oh my, that was, like, the worst part of Daiji. Like, again, I like Daiji, I like Kagero, but oh my god, that was insufferable. Especially because you could see, like, he wanted to go.
He was just fighting everything.
He was just being a fucking edgy
Well, no, yeah, it's so funny. He became very similar to Kagero, and it was also because of that feeling of like he had that feeling of like I don't want Kagero's death to literally mean nothing. And it was part of him. It was what was holding him all the way back.
He's like, I needed him this whole time, and I got rid of him, and I don't. He just didn't want to back down from the decision that he had made, which is honestly, I feel like something that like. Like, I'm thinking about this as, like, kids watching.
I think it just ran a little too long.
Oh, yeah, it went way too long.
It went a little too long.
But, like, if you think about it as, like, a family watching this show together, like a kid, couple, like, if there were to be, like, kids watching this, I could see, like, a teenager kind of relating to that a little bit of, like, I made a decision, and I have to follow through no matter what. Like, you can't go back.
Like, this is life or death. You can't turn around.
He's already dead. And it turns out, Kagero, in the fucking funniest move ever, was like, I was dormant inside you this whole time. I was just waiting for you to crack and come back begging. And I was just like, oh, bitch!
I don't remember if that's how it exactly went, but that's how it felt.
Yeah,
I loved it. Okay, wait. Speaking of stuff with Kagero, one of my fucking favorite moments is when they were... No... Oh, close. Close. We will mention that in a second. But I was talking about the time where it's like they were trying to find the dead man's base. And they're like, wait, Kagero knows where it is. So they both take Daiji. Sakura gives him a full fucking Nelson. And fucking Iki just fucking rider kicks him and gets him to turn into Kagero.
Just like, I forgot 3rd grade math for that. Like,
yeah, exactly. He's like, I just forgot what extremisms mean.
I forgot Sakura's 3rd birthday for that. But, because that's the whole thing with them is like, oh...
You get too whacked, and
like, if you get
I don't think that who is that anymore.
But that was so funny. It felt like such a sibling moment. And also, one of the funniest parts that, like, whenever I think of Kagero, not in, like, the, like, dark and cool, edgy way, but more in, like, that goofy, funny way, the first thing I think of is when they were basically trying to bribe Kagero with, like, spicy curry. Daiji is a complete bitch and doesn't like spice whatsoever.
Yeah, I love it anytime,
and
like...
Kagero fucking loves spice, and they just, like, fucking pumped, like, 8 bowls of curry into him, and it was so spicy, he fucking passed out, and Daiji wakes up, and he's just like, I'm on fire! Like, it was like, it's just so funny. There's so many good moments in this.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
I honestly, like I said, I feel like
also, Kagero has such a cool suit.
I love both like, evil and live. I like them both. I like that they're palindromes, like of each other. Evality Live is a weird and kind of stupid name, but you know.
At least it kind of goes with like the theme of the past one.
I don't know. It's like that's also like I don't know. Honestly, I will say Daiji's probably my least favorite of the siblings. But
yeah, but like again, well, the most middle child thing you could possibly say.
You say about it. So let's get to the last one. Let's get to Sakura and Love Cove.
Love Cove, baby.
I think it's funny that Love Cove got an arc.
Yeah, like it's kind of cool. It's like.
Like,
so many weird things happened with that giant fucking snake.
Like, I like how it's like, I like the moral that, like, Sakura had to learn was, like, shit's like, that's not a pet. That's not something you need to say. That's a part of you. That's your partner. That's a person. And, like, she was like, oh. But also Love Cove, when...
Like, just, like, learning about Love Cove in the first place of, like, the whole reason she couldn't
transform.
She molted. Was the whole reason she couldn't transform. Like, using the belt from the Weekenders with the Libra driver. It was like, she just thought she was this untouchable, unbeatable...
She couldn't accept the other half of herself.
Yeah, and then she realized, like, I have all bark and no bite. Like, yeah, I can fight. I can beat the fuck out of Julio, but, like... Like,
we'll
what
get
can
back
I,
to
like,
Tamaki.
well, oh yeah, we'll get back to him. But it's just like, why can't I do this? And it's just because she was being a little bit of a baby. Like, you know, she just needed to be able to, like, actually follow through with
she had
what
a fun
believed.
arc. She was a fun character.
And also just learning to kind of similar to Daiji of learning to trust Love Cove, that she can also protect her, because again, it isn't a baby, a pet, or something. Like, that's your partner. And fucking Love Cove got a giant fucking, like, vagina slash on the back of her.
Oh yeah, she molted.
And she molted on it, and I was so worried that Sakura wasn't gonna get a fucking upgrade. And I'm so glad it came in.
I told
Cobra.
you.
I was so happy. She gets fucking, like, cape dreadlock?
She gets X-A dreadlocks.
Kind of.
But,
love it.
But I also told you, I'm like, how would you have felt if Love Cove,
pack.
if Love Cove would have molted into her human form from the movie?
Have we seen that?
No, sadly, that's one of the only things because it's not subbed yet. Battle Familia. Well, that's kind of it.
I don't have a whole lot to say about them, despite the fact that they're like.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of other things to talk about when we get to other characters. Like, they're really good. I think their storyline, and this is a rumor or from a magazine, so I don't know how true or anything is. Apparently, the writer of Revice said he initially pitched the show with a female lead, and they shot him down, obviously.
Again, I'd always be down for having.
I know, but
a female main writer.
Blame Bandai.
I understand why, as much as it upsets me, because it's like this. Like, if you're thinking about it from a marketing standpoint, technically, Kamen Rider is aimed towards boys. Like, the quote-unquote girls show that's basically, like, that's on the show next to it is, like, usually some sort of, like, 2D magical girl show.
Yep.
But, like, this is... It's basically like if you were to put Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon next to each other.
Yeah.
Or, like... I guess, like,
not that both genders couldn't like both.
Absolutely. Like, that's definitely not the point. I'm talking more of, like, the, like, big business.
The philosophy, the guys in suits down in Japan.
Thought, you know.
Yeah.
But, like, it's like, I would love to see it, but we're probably not, and I get why, but...
And there's one other very big thing.
I do like that we have had, like, a very consistent stream of female writers, and...
We've had one for every Reiwa show.
That's a step in the right direction,
well,
I will give them that.
All Reiwa shows both have at least one female writer into the cast, if not multiple. Mm-hmm. But dads. But we'll get to that in a minute.
But
I
guess, like, not a whole lot else to say about them, unless you've got something.
Again, there's stuff I think we had to save for later, because I feel like that's more of another character part. But her character stuff that she got with other characters was really cool. Except for, like, I guess we'll get to him. That's the funny thing about Sakura, where it's like, I
cannot wait to talk about Aguilera. I cannot wait.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
but,
let's get through the family first.
So, okay, do you want to talk about the mom or dad first? I feel like...
I guess maybe the mom, because there's not as much to say.
Like,
I guess this is a...
I guess this is also the Veil stuff. Where
oh my god, that Veil special could have been a whole show on its own.
It was awesome.
Fantastic.
Like, also the casting was really good.
Those people legitimately look and sound like the younger versions of those characters.
Like 25, 28 years or something like that.
Just to, like, keep on talking about this casting, like, all of these people look like they could be a family, which is fucking nuts. I don't know how they did that. And also the fact that, the chemistry is on point, and we will talk about that more. But
well, I'm realizing maybe we should have talked about... Well, I guess we can talk about them both at the same time. Well, all three of them. Because we also have Genta, we have Veil, or Junpei, I guess.
Well, Junpei is his old name.
But you don't dead name him.
Dead man name him.
But, like, Yukimi, their mom, was, like... apparently they almost killed her at the beginning, and they were like, oh, but they didn't want it to be a revenge plot, which I liked. I prefer that. I like that the whole family was there the whole time, and I like how a lot of her mannerisms were for like go to Iki, like her busybodiness goes, like that's where he gets that from. But I also like that she talks to each of her children in a different way. Like when she's talking to Iki, it's not going to be the same way that she's talking or giving advice to Daiji or Sakura. Yeah. Like she felt very fitting and like she treated all her children uniquely and differently, but also was that kind of like, you could tell she was the stricter parent. She was the one you have to make sure the bathhouse is pristine. Like, no getting off of work, but being super supportive of Genta's YouTube channel. Like, I liked her a lot, and there was moments where both her and the dad went away. Like, honestly, if I have to say something, like, the mom and dad kind of disappeared for long swaths at a time. The dad, Genta more than her, but, like, I feel like that's all I have to really say. Do you have anything you want to say about her, about the mom?
It's just, oh my gosh, just...
Her song,
The
Veil theme.
I love that theme so much. It is so pretty. Especially, like, both of the actresses singing. Like,
that was good.
And that song is amazing.
Yeah.
And just, like, that...
Which, by the way, fun fact, the young Yukimi was played by, oh my god, I don't remember the actress's name. But she was Hammy in, Q Ranger.
Nice.
Chameleon Green.
Oh, that's so nice. It's just...
I really wish she would have transformed.
I'm a little sad we never got to see their wedding. I really wanted to... Like,
that ending bit that you wanted to see their wedding. Like, okay, so I guess now let's get into Veil and Genta. The dad was so unsuspicious. Like, we were just like, oh, he's a weird YouTube dad. And then, like, fucking deep into the show, you find out that the demon's driver... Yeah, you find out earlier on he doesn't have a heart. Get to that in a minute. And then you find out there was a demon in the demon's driver named Veil.
That was eating Hiromi.
Yeah, who's eating Hiromi. And that was his demon. That he was sucked into the demon's driver and kicked out of Genta's body. And, like, that episode goes so fucking hard, from the emotional stuff with Iki having to remember Veil attacking their bathhouse to
that's his dad,
to when, like, the dad first transforms and you see him fight Veil and just be like, you can't hurt my family. And, like, his whole character when he was Junpei, when he was fighting his Kamen Rider Veil, because they were like, hey, your family was... They orchestrated his family to be killed by demons, and he was just like, I'm gonna find that red devil.
It was him.
It was Veil, and we later find out it was Veil, but it's like you see him go through so much pain and hollowness. He was also Subject 71. Ha ha ha. Kamen Rider came out in 1971. Ha 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 ha. And
to be fair, like, I legitimately do forget a lot of the time that Revice is technically an anniversary show.
Yeah, and like you said, the Veil special could be so much on its own, and like you see like a friendship almost a little bit that you see break later on, obviously, between Veil and Gent, or Junpei, I guess at the time. He's just because he was like, oh, I'm your buddy, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, and everything, and then when it's like, it just hurts so much more where it's like he never fully ever trusted Veil, but like to hear that like the demon he's been hunting for this whole time to be Veil probably felt very betraying, you know what I mean? It's like, that's his demon and everything. And I loved the episode where they settled things between him and Veil. Like, when he became Deathstream, like, it was magical. But the ending of Veil, where it's like everything kind of went to shit, like his face got burned up because like he was trying to get rid of Veil. Yeah, and like they gave him a new face and everything.
We learned where Boo came from.
We find out where Boo came from, and it's like, and like all of a sudden, like, and you see him get that peace of mind and everything when he was with the mom and being happy, being able to relax and feel, I guess, more alive, like, you know, after being like this demon hunter, and like, he probably felt like, he felt like happy and everything, and then like when he loses the memories and was like, who are you? And like when he loses his memories initially, when he loses his memories initially, and like he goes to, like, they're in the hospital and he's just like, oh, who are, like, it's like, who are you? And like to the mom and everything, after they, you know, they got out, they escaped Noah. That was the organization's name.
Yeah, the relationship between the mom and the dad was just so good.
It was perfect.
It was so strong.
I loved it.
It was obviously very much a Disney, like, oh, they knew each other for a week kind of thing. But, like, obviously this is a very quick special that just kind of like a quick backstory kind of thing. I get it.
But they had like a lifetime after it.
It felt so real. It was such a lovely story. I love the chemistry between the two. Like, yeah, you see them bicker, but like, those two just...
It's so cute. They played it up one time, and I like that, how supporting...
Like, when they were trying to, like, teach Iki a thing, like, obviously, again, like you said, she teaches them in different ways. Like, she faked an argument with the dad, and he's like, wow, you guys, like, never fight, and then it was, like, all to, like... And it was fake. Like, he was just like, did he
Yeah, and they were just
for
like,
it?
yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I got it. He
Like-
got the lesson. He's like, yeah. But,
Like-
and when I think of the Veil special, one of the first things that I think of is, like, that scene where, like, he, like, has a completely different, like, more lighthearted personality. First of all, not only are, like, is the dad's backstory really fucking sad of just being a test subject and having his family murdered by his demon and everything, but hers is actually really sad.
Oh yeah,
too.
they all died.
And it's in passing of her just being like, yeah, my family's all dead and I'm running this bathhouse
What
by
our family
myself.
bathhouse because they got in a car crash or something.
Like that. But, like, and then, like, and, like, a lot of, like, the conflict going on in her head is just being like, oh my god, this guy suffers so much. I just want him to just
Be happy.
feel comfortable, and just relax.
Have a peaceful life.
Yeah, and then when he, like, wakes up and he's just like, who are you? And he's like a completely different personality.
Like it's like everything. It's like nothing has.
Yeah, and she just, like, smiles and cries and, like, I'm your wife. And just, like,
that was such a moment.
And she's, like, crying, and and I guess it's kind of, like, bittersweet because, like, she knows everything that he went through, but she's happy that he doesn't have to live with that on his shoulders.
Well, yeah.
And just, like, and she's, like, and, like, she does, even though she hounds her kids to, like, you have to, you know, be here for the bathhouse and help out. Like, I'm not in, like, the, you need to stay in the family business way, but more in the, hey, I can't do this by myself.
No, it's more of,
She
like,
loves
that
the
family.
Yeah, everyone even kind of comments, like, why are you, like,
always
looser?
easy on
Why are
dad?
you easy on dad? And, like, I can only imagine it's, like, a Vietnam War flashback in her head of just, he deserves it. Like,
Well, like,
he needs it.
And
no
like,
questions.
and like that's something. It's like it now even makes more sense of why she was like, "No, Sakura, you can't do this. I don't want you to be a commoner." It fits because she knows that. She knows what it costs, and she doesn't want her daughter to go through that. She doesn't want any of them to go through that. And I think that's the sad thing is like. And, like, because they even make a joke about the dad becoming the next Kamen Rider before we knew about Veil and everything. And it's one of those things where it's just like...
I'm still waiting for the mom.
Oh, I want a whole family of riders, please.
Please.
And I just love how they did that and everything. And it's just like, she doesn't want him to remember. She does... And
I feel like we have to mention, like, when the dad does get his memories back. And he's like... I truly, like, love the part where he's like, yeah, I guess I did kind of purposefully act more Junpei-esque.
Yeah, but that's not who it is.
So that you would understand more and that maybe you would let me go easier, just so that you wouldn't try to, like...
Stop him.
To stop me. And so it just kind of shows that, like, he's actively choosing to be, like, he enjoys
himself.
Being Genta. He
Yeah.
enjoys being Genta so much more than he enjoyed being Junpei.
Well, that's who he is now.
It's like that. He's just like, that is who I am. And it's like, I tried to act differently, but it just wasn't right. And it's just, isn't that just so nice that it's like, yeah, like, technically it's like, oh, wow, she just kind of chose his life for him, I guess. But it's like, no, like, he...
appreciates it. He
yeah,
still...
And then he chose that. Like,
yeah,
he chose it as
and
well.
Like that's what I think. I love their chemistry. It's like they feel like a real couple and everything. I love it. And like then you get the thing where he becomes Deathstream and he even uses that to teach Daiji something. And it's in that moment that's so powerful. Like cuz there were so many.
They're a great wife and husband to each other, but they're great parents. Like they really understand their kids personally, and they understand like what needs to be done.
And like I wish we could have solved Veil more, but I get what happened.
Yeah.
And his story is also very interesting. It's like he also felt very betrayed by Genta, where it's like he was just doing his job. It's like
you wanted me for.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's like even though he's the one who killed his family and everything, he still feels that betrayal, and you can get his own feeling from it, like where it's like he feels just as betrayed as probably Genta did, and like he's just like, I'm going to fuck you over as hard as I fucking can, and he burnt down their fucking bathhouse.
He's trying to murder his children.
Yeah, and exactly, and he lost to Vice.
Yeah.
Which, that's fucking hilarious. Which I wish we would have saw that fight, honestly. I really wish we did. But, like, their final fight, where it not only had just between that family and George and his dad, like, it was just that moment of them settling it. And it was just like Veil just being like, I'm tired. I'm
I want to go to sleep.
Where yeah, and it's like almost him giving up and him just saying he's like, well, you're not Junpei anymore, are you?
He's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, and exactly.
And he like reintroduces himself as just like, let's start over in a way, and it's like.
And he goes to bed.
I think it's really interesting, like kind of showing that in the future he probably could resurface, and maybe they could start over.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is though about Vale though, they are life to get together. It's not like Iki or Sakura or Daiji.
I guess Daiji a little bit because he did make a life contract technically, but like yeah, like he and Vice are going to be together forever because he's dependent on his survival because he doesn't have a heart.
Yeah, because he lost his heart and he has those Gifu cells. But if his demon were to stop, he would, I guess, lose those cells. I'm not quite sure.
That's kind of what's keeping his heart beating.
Vale is in a way his heart.
I guess so, and it's just like those Gifu cells or whatever. And oh my god, by the way, when the dad basically was sacrificing himself, like basically going in knowing I am going to fucking die.
Oh yeah, for the final power up.
My son needs to be able to win.
Well, yeah, he's like, I'm sorry, I caused this.
And then Iki just being like, what the fuck am I doing? I cannot allow this.
I can't kill my dad.
I can't let my dad die. It does not matter. I will find a different way. And fucking like, I think it was like George and his dad just performing open heart surgery or lack thereof, I guess. Like
I guess pulling out the rock surgery.
I was like on the edge of my seat, just like, you better not fucking kill him. I swear to fucking Christ.
Like, I love that they go on vacation, by the way.
They deserved it.
They right after which that's where Battle Familia takes place. I think this family dynamic was fucking perfect.
You want to just get into like the whole dynamic now?
Well, we're done. Do you have anything else to really say about Vale?
God.
Like, we just talked, I feel like, a very long time about those two characters alone, but like
there's a lot to unpack.
Like that I adored this family dynamic. Like, we had never had anything, and it's something I've been wanting, and it's like, I love it. I love it when Magi Ranger did it, even though it had like the idea of like an evil dad. And, like, I like that the dad had more layers earlier on, and I actually made the joke of, like, could you imagine if they accidentally gave away the Vale thing by saying, it's like, hey, honey, why did you put this driver next to my other driver? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they did not get this family dynamic right, and I mean, by family dynamic, I mean, like, every single character interacting with every single character, including their demons. If they did not get that right, this show would not have.
It was heartbreaking at the end at the series.
At all.
At the end of the series, it was heartbreaking that they had all the seats and they left one open for Vice.
Yeah, like, I noticed that just, like, whether they did it subconsciously or not, like, they left a seat open for him. And, like, they're actively, like, talking to Kagero. And, like, Love Cove is, like, in the background
Love Coving it up.
Doing her thing. It's like,
do you remember when she rocked out?
Everyone was a part of a family. The family. That was the family.
Yeah.
And every single character, even, like, the demons interacting with each other. And just... Like, if that wouldn't, it worked. Everything worked so well. And not even like, oh, they're all, like, in this perfect little family where nothing goes wrong and they all love each other. It's like, yes, they all love each other so much. But, like, even that love caused problems. And, and them, like, working through these problems together and fighting because, like, they're butting heads or, like, they have...
Because, their ideology, in a way.
And, again, they're young. They had to learn lessons and stuff. So it's just, it's just so good. It is so good. Honestly, even if you don't care for Kamen Rider, but if you really like family dynamics and, like, dramas and stuff, you would probably like this show.
Honestly, people say, like, the first 28 episodes were, like, really, really good, which I agree with. That's a good run, and I think it only got better as, like, because it built upon those characters they built. Everything, and, like, I can't disagree, there's a little bit of laggy parts, I get it. But, this show is perfect. Yeah, and, like, I adored this family dynamic, where it's like, I don't think we don't have much, because it's like, us talking about the characters and how great they work together, we've already said. And, like, that's...
It now just, like, take all of that but interlace them perfectly.
Yeah, and it's like they all work. They look like father and son, or you know what I mean?
If there's one compliment, like, again, like, you can say whatever you want about Revice and, like, oh, like, the parts that lagged or dragged or whatever, or, like, oh, I didn't like this part's, like, you're completely justified in saying that, but I full on will disagree and, like, just, like, say, like, if they're like, oh, I didn't like the family dynamic. I don't think the chemistry was there. I have to say, I'm sorry, you're full on wrong. Like, that is...
I
Like,
can't agree.
If there's one thing that I think that this show did perfectly right from start to finish, it is the family dynamic. Because if there's one thing that I'll say, and I'll probably bring this up again later, like, I don't know if this is true or not, this is just speculation. I feel like the people that were involved in making and writing this show must have, like, had a list of, like, these are our priorities. These are what we need to get done no matter what. Like, no matter what happens in this show, this needs to be done. This needs to be done correctly. And they stuck to it that whole time. And that family dynamic must have been one of them.
Yeah.
Because, like, this seems unrelated, but, like, with the stuff with, like, George and his dad, like, yes, that was kind of an ongoing thing for, like, a long time.
That felt like they lagged on it a little bit.
Yeah, and it did, like, lag on some things. I feel like there's, like, okay, we want to hint towards this being a thing later, so we're gonna mention it early on and maybe sprinkle in a couple mentions here and there, and then we'll
Iki's
deal
memory
with it
thing.
Like, and then we'll really talk about it later, which I get from a writing perspective, but it's like, oh, and once it got towards the end, I will say, like, if people thought that the George and his dad thing and Juga felt a little bit rushed, I totally understand, because I kind of felt it too. It was rushed, but, like, not in a bad way.
The ending,
for me.
I think the ending was worth it, though.
That ending, like, when it, like, really
I guess, do we want to get...
was so cathartic. Oh my God.
I guess...
But,
yeah.
I'm trying to get to a thing. But, like, I can understand why you would think it was rushed, because they did kind of squeeze it all into, like, what, like, 3 episodes?
3 or 4, yeah.
Like, the whole climax and resolution. It worked, but, like, they must have, like, really had to be, like... What I feel like happened was, like, okay, we've built up to this for a long time, but we need these couple of episodes for Revice and Vice and letting the rest of our, like, story play out. We have... I'm gonna just say 3. We have 3 episodes. Let's cram it in there. Let's do it as best that we can, because after that we need to focus on this, because that's more important. And I feel like they did that really well, because a lot happened in those 3 episodes regarding it, but it felt right. It felt right. Like, yeah, like, the build up was like, oh shit, we have this thing in here, we can't just leave it hanging. This is all the time that we have, let's do what we can. And I feel like they did pull it off. And
yeah.
Fucking Christ, like...
Yeah.
George is, like, screaming and crying of just, like... I wanted to spend more time with you. I wanted to have the chance to fix things with you. And just, like, mourning the loss of, like, this dad...
That he almost accepted or that he was dead. That
he, like, hated, but also loved and wanted, but... like, also didn't want
It's conflicted feelings.
There was so much conflicted feelings in there. Just, I want to hate you because you left me hanging and you gave me this demon and all this bad stuff. But at the same time, it's like, I see why. And then everyone just having to kind of just band together and be like, dude, it's okay. And just, like, show him.
Calm down.
And just, like, look, your dad did love you. He's not here, but that's okay. He still loved you. And you can get through this. You have us. You know what I mean? It's just, so many of these characters just felt so real and human.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking good, man.
Yeah. So do you want to get into Hiromi? I was gonna say, do you want to get into George, but let's get into Hiromi real quick.
No.